show. Our Clarence 10-year anniversary is coming to a close, and our special interview with Spencer Rothbell is scheduled to premiere live at 8 p.m. on Tuesday, April 30th, which is next week by the time this video is being released.
So yeah, we're definitely going to try and get a few things done with it, especially this video, and we've got a few other surprises coming, or surprises quote-unquote coming, so hopefully we can get some stuff done in time, but that just depends on our schedules and all this stuff, because we both have been incredibly busy, myself especially, because I'm just getting ready to do stuff for my own channel, and just all that jazz, so it just depends on how we do.
Since Clarence is turning 10, we thought it would be a good idea to talk about some stuff involving the show. Now, so far we talked about funny scenes from all 3 seasons, and we did an outtake video from that particular blog.
By the way, you guys are insane for the amount of views that you guys shared and all that stuff regarding the video that I made for this channel, because you guys rock for that. Like, I've seen all the comments and everything. Like, you guys have been so generous towards my story of Clarence. So guys, thank y'all so much, man. I appreciate all your support for that.
And since Clarence is supposedly supposed to take place back during the 1990s, it is quite fitting that they would try and reference some toys that either the cast and crew grew up playing with when they were kids.
And that's exactly what we're going to talk about today. And I noticed that in a couple of early episodes from very early in Season 1, being in Season 1, Episode 7, Jeff's New Toy, yes, we're going back to this one, but hear us out, because in one shot, if you look very closely, there is a figure, there are 2 figures referencing He-Man and the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. By the way, because some of this stuff actually came from this short that we found on Twitter, so Cartoon Network, shout out to you guys for that.
Basically, that little short Instagram and Twitter video they did is basically inspiration for this, so we can further explain what they were doing with these references.
Yeah, in some sort of a way. And then this one was also pretty short, since this one was briefly mentioned, but in Slumber Party, the 16th episode of Season 1, they also had a little bit of a paper fortune teller, and wait a minute, a paper fortune teller? Wasn't there something else that had a paper fortune teller?
And then in the 22nd episode of Season 1, Belson's Sleepover, a lot of video game references were put into this short 11-minute episode.
Yeah.
And yes, if you're a video game buff, you're definitely going to love these, because they referenced Resident Evil 4 with this poster, and they did a callback to the Nintendo 64 with
Acedia 64. And speaking of the Acedia, just listen to this very closely. Just take a listen.
I didn't even know you could buy it.
What does that jingle sound like to you guys?
I'm not really sure, because I'm not really that big of a video game fan.
Well, if you probably know, because of the magic of Sonic the Hedgehog, that's the famous jingle for Sega. And then in addition to that, there's also a avatar that Belson had, but that does not look like an ordinary avatar at all.
It kind of reminds me of the Mii's. If you don't know what a Mii is, it's from the old Nintendo Wii gaming console. And there's another reference to the Nintendo Wii in another episode that we'll talk about later in this video. But I believe there's a whole bunch of toy references in the episode The Tension from the first season, right?
Yeah, and I know we talked about a very hysterical scene from that, but how in the world can you do something like this, okay? Because there's just so many toys that you need to, it's like one of those things that you need to, analyze with your own eyes. You can't just look at it at a very, very fast rate. You have to, pause with your remote or something like that, and you have to look very closely with your eyes to analyze. It's kind of like one of those things, but there's stuff like a slap bracelet, poppers, there's a Furby, Tamagotchi, Rubik's Cube, Slinky, Rock'em Sock'em Robots, a magic 8-ball that you just randomly call 8, a Viewmaster, pop and fire rocks that were called Pop-Pops, a Skip-It, a voice recorder, Etch-a-Sketch, LiteBrite, which is called RightBrite, a Lego statue of Jeff, and then there was a special cameo of Hornsby from Hawk. Oh my god, that was a mouthful!
Then 2 episodes later, in the episode Little Buddy, the toy that Clarence has is basically a reference to the old My Buddy toy. Jared doesn't really like that episode because of what happens to Clarence. We did basically poke fun of that episode when we did our April Fool's stunt. We got a comment from Gray Skyman, who said, Little Buddy is the best episode of Clarence Horrible Taste. And we just want to let you know that I didn't find anything wrong with the episode. There's nothing wrong with it. It's just, actually, because of the short time we have, we'll explain it in a further video.
Do you see how depressed Clarence is? Like, I just find it sad to see Clarence that way, okay? In this one called Chalmers Santiago, this one, actually, just a total side note, we're not going to go into the real reason why this happened, but from what I heard, this is actually the very first episode of Clarence to play after Skylar Page was fired from the series and from Cartoon Network Studios due to something very private that happened.
So, there were a few more video game references in this episode after Skylar was given the boot.
And especially for my mom, because this one actually goes back to like the 1970s with the gaming in this one, especially with this thing called the Plaything, which is actually a reference to the Atari 2600. And speaking of that, they have the cool little cartridges that represent the cool cartridges of the 2600, and then there's something called Dragon's Cusp. I don't know if I'm saying that right, but we don't know what it's exactly supposed to be reference of, but it's quite possibly a reference to the game Adventure for the 2600.
They certainly packed in a lot of video game and toys from the 1980s and 90s when they're making this show.
No complaints, though. No complaints.
Like we mentioned, there is another reference to the Nintendo Wii in the Season 3 12th episode, Big Game, when Belson, is playing a Wii Sports lookalike game, just to prevent his boredom.
He's apparently not in the mood to go to the game, and he becomes so bored that he turns off the game from the TV. But he actually proved a fair point. Why would you want to watch the game from the TV when the game is out your window?
I actually grew up playing Wii Sports. I mean, who doesn't remember playing that game?
In fact, I think from what I heard, it's one of the best-selling games of all time because it was a free game that you got with the Wii. So every Wii that was sold, you had that. But then in later years, actually, just as a side note, in later years they actually gave Wii Sports and Wii Sports Resort 2 games for the Wii. But when this happened, it was $200. Think about that. $200 for 2 games and 1 console and the controllers and everything. Do you know how much of a steal that is? I think that's incredible, honestly. Like, you get 2 games and a console. Like, basically, you already set to have a field day with that.
So yeah, that's pretty much all the known toy references that we can squeeze in that were seen on Clarence, because there were a lot of references to Clarence over the past 3 seasons.
Yeah, there was more so of like the TV and movie side, but not too much towards the toys and the games, so we tried our best with this.
Did you guys grow up playing with these toys that Clarence, Sumo, Jeff, and their friends in Aberdale played with on the show?
Just let us know in the comments if you have any fond memories of those toys, and just start a conversation about it if you wanted to, as long as it's uplifting, of course.
Yeah, we like hearing your feedback. But until then, be sure to like, comment, subscribe to our channel, hit the bell to get all notifications from us, and be sure to tune in on Tuesday for our special interview with Spencer Rothbell live on YouTube at 8 p.m.
And I was really nervous about it, but it's going to be worth it.